remember with my first son, when it got to like 6-7 months, I was literally like counting down the months that I had left to go to just make it to a year so that I could stop breastfeeding. Like, that's how stressful it was to me. And I feel like for a while I just kind of completely lost myself. I feel like I lost my identity outside of motherhood, and that was just something that did not make me feel good at all. It was like if I asked for help, then that somehow meant that I wasn't being a good mom because I'm his mom, right? And I'm supposed to be able to do all of these things for him all of the time, and if I can't, then I'm falling short. What's up, you guys, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Chantasy. I am a boy mom of 2. I have a son named Amari who is 2.5 years old, and then I also have an 8-month-old son named Ezra, and he is 8 months old. Today's video is going to be all about some of the things that I am doing differently with my second baby. But before I jump in, I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about myself and my personality just to help put this video into context. So I am someone that is a scheduler, I'm a planner, I'm a creature of habit, which are all fine qualities to have, except when you throw a baby into that mix and things really get shaken up a little bit. And that was my experience after having my first son. Kind of rocked my world a little bit because babies are unpredictable and they don't follow schedules very well, and things don't always go as planned because there are a lot of things that happen that are very difficult to control. And so my first postpartum experience was a little bit difficult, mostly for those reasons. So this time around, when I was preparing for my second son and kind of just getting ready for his arrival, I started to just kind of reflect back on my first postpartum experience, and I realized that there were just a lot of things that I was doing or that I wasn't doing that made that experience a lot more difficult than it needed to be, than it had to be. So I decided this time around to make some changes because I did not want to have that same experience again. So that is exactly what I'm going to talk to you guys about today, the things that I'm doing differently this time around that I believe have made a big difference in my postpartum experience and have really just helped me enjoy motherhood a lot more. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the very first thing that I am doing differently with baby number 2 is not stressing about the schedule. You guys, I am a schedule type of gal. I thrive best in situations where I have a schedule, a plan, a routine, and when I don't have those things, I tend to get really, really anxious about it. So with my first baby, I was all about just keeping our daily schedule, and I really didn't want to do anything that would mess up that schedule during the day. And anytime something did mess up that daily schedule, my whole day just kind of went south. And I know that sounds dramatic. I know you guys are probably going to be like, girl, you're crazy, it's not that serious. And I know that now, but at the time that was my reality, and it really did cause a lot of anxiety for me. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm here to keep it real with you guys. So that's what it was. I really just got worked up about messing up our schedule. So much so to the point that if something was going to impact our schedule, I literally didn't do it. This was like going out to eat with friends or just going out to run errands. Literally anything that was going to mess up our schedule, I just didn't do it. And if I did do it, I just stressed and thought about it the entire time, as that is just not healthy. And ultimately it left me feeling very alone and very isolated, just in my home by myself with my baby all day, every day, in the midst of the pandemic too. And so I was already kind of feeling that way, and so having that type of mindset really just amplified that, and it was just not a good time for me or my baby. And so this time around, I decided that I was really going to challenge that. Now, don't get me wrong, we still have like a daily routine, just like a general flow of our day and the things that I like to get done in a day. However, if there is somewhere that we need to go, an activity that we want to do, a play date, going out to eat, whatever it is, I don't let our schedule or routine stop us from doing those things. You know, we may have to do a car nap or two. They may miss a nap altogether, or we may have to do a contact nap out somewhere. But regardless of what it is, regardless of what the situation ends up being, it's not that big of a deal. It's going to be okay, and the schedule and the routine is just not worth missing out on fun experiences or even just being able to run daily errands. It's just not worth it. So again, the first thing that I'm changing with my second baby is being stressed out about a schedule. And that kind of leads me into my next point. So the next thing that I've changed with baby number 2 is stressing and being obsessed about sleep. And this is a tough one. I know that sleep is a really big deal because it's really important just for our day-to-day functioning, and the lack of sleep can lead to a lot of other problems, so I know it's a big deal. But when I say that I was like obsessed with it, I was obsessed with getting crib naps to last longer, making sure that the naps lasted a certain amount of times very specifically so that it didn't mess up our daily schedule. And if he did have a bad nap, I would immediately just like hop onto Google and be like, baby's nap only lasted 30 minutes. What went wrong, or like just trying to figure out what I needed to do to fix it when it wasn't always a problem that needed to be fixed. Sometimes he just had a bad nap, you know, like even it was like I was trying to get him to sleep like an adult, and that just wasn't going to be the reality. And when you think about it, even adults, we don't sleep perfectly all the time. There's been so many times that I've just been so tired, and then I lay down to sleep and I can't go to sleep because we're humans, just like babies. We are not robots, and every single time we lay down to rest is not always going to be perfect. And so that was a mindset that I really had to challenge with my second baby. But like I said, I am a person who thrives off of routine. So we do have like a nap routine and a bedtime routine, things that I do just to try to help us have better sleep habits. But I don't stress necessarily about like the length of the naps, or if a nap doesn't go well, I don't like stress about it. I don't lock myself in the room trying to get them to go back to sleep. If the nap is done, it's done, and we move on with the day. And I will just say, I think a big part of being able to let go of the stress around sleep is being more educated about baby sleep. I really think that just knowing more about wake windows and knowing that babies make noise in their sleep, they coo and they caw and they grunt and they do all these things and can still be sleeping. And so I found that before with my first baby, anytime he started making any type of noise, I would run into the room and try to intercept and get him to go back to sleep quickly so that, you know, his nap could continue on. And in the process of doing that, I was really just waking him up more, and then getting him back to sleep was more difficult than if I would have just left him and let him self-soothe a little bit. He probably would have just fallen back asleep on his own. So just being more educated about stuff like that and sleep cues and everything, I feel like I'm able to help them develop good sleep habits, but I'm not obsessing over it, if that makes sense. All right, so the next thing that I have changed with baby number 2 is constantly stressing about breastfeeding and putting so much pressure on myself to breastfeed. Now with my first baby, breastfeeding was obviously something that was very new to both of us, and it took a lot of practice and a lot of learning. I knew from the beginning that I wanted to breastfeed him, and I was willing to do that by any means necessary. So much so that about 2 weeks into him being born, we were struggling. My nipples were like bleeding and I had fissures everywhere, and I literally would cry the entire time that I was nursing him because it hurt so badly. But I was just like so wrapped up in this mindset that like I had to breastfeed this way, it had to be directly from my breast, and so on and so forth. And so I just kept doing it no matter how bad it hurt. And it got to the point one night my husband was like watching me do this, and he was like, Chan, like, what are you doing? Why are you putting yourself through that? And I was like, you know, I gotta breastfeed, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And he was like, no, you really don't have to do that. And so long story short, talked to a lactation consultant. I ended up pumping for a little while and completely just bottle feeding him the breast milk and just kind of letting my body heal. And so that when I returned to it, I was more educated and I was better able to have a successful breastfeeding journey. But all of that to say, if I wouldn't have been so stressed out about the breastfeeding and all of these expectations that I had for myself and for my baby around breastfeeding, probably could have saved myself a lot of pain. And so this time around, I really just kind of took the pressure off of myself. I am breastfeeding, and I feel like this time it's going so much better, and I think that that's because I stopped stressing about it. You know, if nursing isn't going well one day and he's very distracted, I pump and I just give him a bottle. It's not that big of a deal. And another thing that I stopped doing was like assuming that I had a low supply. And that's something that I did a ton with my first baby. I was constantly just taking lactation supplements and eating lactation cookies and doing all these things because I was assuming that he just wasn't getting enough for whatever reason. It really just stressed me out, and it made enjoying the breastfeeding journey a lot more difficult. And so again, this time I stopped doing that. Whenever I feel like I may be having a low supply, I ask myself 3 questions. Is he gaining weight? Is he making wet and poopy diapers? And does he seem content between his feedings? And if the answers to those questions are yes, then I get the thought out of my head and I move on. Because the first time around, I definitely was stressing a lot for no reason. I feel like just taking the pressure off and really just listening to my baby and following his cues and not assuming that my supply is low for one reason or another has really helped me just enjoy my breastfeeding journey a lot more. And I remember with my first son, when it got to like 6-7 months, I was literally like counting down the months that I had left to go to just make it to a year so that I could stop breastfeeding. Like, that's how stressful it was to me. And then this time we're already like 8.5 months in, and I really I don't think about stopping. I'm sure, you know, it'll come when it comes and he'll wean whenever he's ready, but I'm not like counting down the days until I can stop. So yes, this time, not stressing, not putting too much pressure on myself about breastfeeding. All right, next thing on my list of things that I'm doing differently is prioritizing myself. I think just as moms, we sometimes feel like we have to do it all and be it all to everyone all the time, no matter what that means for ourselves and for our own mental health. The baby is to come first all of the time. And while yes, your baby should be, you know, our number one top priority, I also think that we should be our priority as well. And I think that taking care of ourselves should also be really high on that list. Honestly, if we aren't taking care of ourselves and our own body and our own mind, how are we going to take care of another human being? So with my first baby, I really just put every ounce of my energy into caring for him. I lived and I breathed this baby, and that left no energy for myself. I would skip meals, I wasn't working out, I really just wasn't taking any time to care for myself. And that really just took a toll on both my mental and my physical health. And I feel like for a while, I just kind of completely lost myself. I feel like I lost my identity outside of motherhood, and that was just something that did not make me feel good at all. And so this time around, I am making a really, really big effort to prioritize myself and to do things that make me happy, to do things that kind of fill up my own cup as well. And I think a big part of me being able to do that is establishing a morning routine. I have like a full morning routine video that I'll link for you guys in the description box if you want to check it out. But ultimately, I wake up early before my kids and I get a workout in, I shower, I do my self-care, I do my devotional, all things that just kind of fill up my own cup before my kids wake up. And when I tell you that this has changed my life, I'm really not exaggerating. My day just makes so much more sense now. I have so much more energy during the day. I'm so much more patient and loving and caring towards my kids because I'm not just like drained. It's really hard to pour from an empty cup, and I feel like that is exactly what I was trying to do with my first baby. So this time around, I really am prioritizing my own health and my own well-being. So along with prioritizing myself, the next thing that I have changed with this baby is asking for help. Now, I know it seems simple, right? You need help, you ask for it, you get it. But as a mom, I don't know why we feel like we can't ask for help, or at least I did. Maybe, you know, I'm not in the majority here, but I just felt guilty asking for help. It was like if I asked for help, then that somehow meant that I wasn't being a good mom because I'm his mom, right? And I'm supposed to be able to do all of these things for him all of the time. And if I can't, then I'm falling short. And that was really the mindset that I had. And that was so unhealthy for both of us. I feel like a lot of that mindset has to do with just like societal expectations of mom. And maybe social media plays a part in that as well. You know, we see all these moms kind of doing it all, being superwomen all the time, and they're doing it effortlessly. And so when we fall short of that, it really can make us feel like we just aren't enough. But I'm here to tell you that we're not supposed to do everything by ourselves all of the time. I think there's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and that's a thing because it's so true. You know, we're not meant to do parenting alone, and it's really important that we lean into our support systems and ask for help when we need it, because if we don't, then we're going to be stressed and we're going to be anxious and we're going to be overwhelmed. So this time around, I don't hesitate to ask for help. I need help with housework, I ask my husband. If I need to step away from the house for a little bit without kids for whatever reason, I ask for help and I don't feel bad about it. And I really think that just this shift in mindset regarding help has made such a big impact on my journey in motherhood so far, and it really is one of the best lessons that I've learned up to this point. Okay, I think these are all of the things that I wanted to share with you guys today. I think the big takeaway point from all of this is to try not to stress about the small things and just kind of take the pressure off of yourself. And just understanding that things aren't always going to go as planned. The schedule's not always going to be on point, and that's okay. Your baby is going to be okay. You are going to be okay. You're doing an amazing job. And at the end of the day, if our kids are happy and healthy and they're thriving, that's all that matters. Whether the schedule was kept, whether you breastfed or formula fed, and even if you have to lean into your friends and your family for help, it's all going to be okay. So ask for help, stop stressing, and just enjoy your baby. Enjoy motherhood, because these moments are fleeting and we're not going to get this time back with them. They're only going to be small for a short amount of time. We don't want to just waste that time stressing and being anxious and being overwhelmed. I hope that you found this video helpful and that it just kind of gives you ideas of things that you may be able to change, some priorities that you may be able to shift around to help yourself just have a better postpartum experience and to enjoy motherhood more. If you did find this video helpful and you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, turn the post notifications on so that you don't miss any of my videos. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.